it really is just it's an arbitrary rejection. There's
Right.
not reason behind it. You're doing observational science, which I've read your book on. I'm not necessarily a young Earth creationist, but I'm definitely a creationist. But
Right.
I don't believe in evolution whatsoever.
Right.
Zero. But the idea that you're not out observing science and performing empirical work to back up your claims and performing experiments and studies, and that that's not available on the young Earth creationist side is false.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that I'm not doing my job, that even that I'm not adequately rebellious or unadhered from culture, I actually am, I think pretty far outside of the box. But I'm also, for them, it's cultural. It's just, look,
Yeah.
it's arbitrary. You don't even look for reasons behind why
They just like,
evil people.
we are the gatekeepers.
Yes.
And we're just going to arbitrarily say, yeah, Doug's talented, but he's not an artist, because we're the ones that can just decide.
And they will do it. I actually, this is why I hate Darwinism so much, is it has nothing to do with science. It has to do with hatred of God.
Right.
It is hatred of God, and so it's an alternate creation account.
Yeah.
They're going, I don't like that Genesis account because it's fiction. So then they make fiction.
Right.
And
Even
they accept
more
that.
ridiculous.
And then they demand each other, and there's uniform acceptance of it. Conformity. Without empirical data to prove it, without empirical studies, so they defy even the very nature of science itself to believe it. And the same thing with the arts.
Yep.
It's like they are anti-creative. They don't produce. They don't love other people by creating for them. They don't love their audience. They don't love nature that they're studying. They don't love good story and character.
Right.
They don't love truth, goodness, and beauty. They twist it and make grotesque lies, and that's what they spew all day. That's what they think is what real art is. Mm-hmm. It's a different creation account.
Are you seeing among your fellow secular artists that getting more and more undesigned, where it looks more?
Well, the last 100 years have truly discredited the arts. I actually think science is in a similar crisis.
Yeah, they're getting to where,
you lose tenure if you don't accept certain things. You lose tenure, and you saw this. Trust the science and trust the experts on COVID.
Yeah.
And that's when they really
Trust the
publicly
scientists.
pulled their pants down.
Right.
And everyone said they're naked. Well, the arts did it in the Armory show probably 100 years ago with Marcel Duchamp in modern art.
Right.
When they really removed beauty, meaning, skill from the arts. And art can be a thought. It can be, I can fill this art gallery with emptiness and say, that's my art show.
That's your art show.
Or in music.
What was that music guy? He didn't play anything.
Yeah, it was like 19 seconds of silence. Mm-hmm. And they filled the audience up at a real symphony. They had a symphony that would play it. They didn't play anything for those 19 seconds. And everyone's like, it's literally the anti-music is music. So in the last 100 years, you're seeing kind of an assault across all these learning disciplines,
Right.
which makes college radical if you're looking for the truth. I actually like the idea of an art show like this, where it's full of lowbrow comics, because comics are considered lowbrow.
Right.
Very, the common man, very pedestrian, and it's kind of, I can paint like the rest of them. I can paint weird, but I'm making a commentary as much on the art. I'm judging it with my work.
So we're at this Pierian Gallery, and it's part of New St. Andrews College. How do you want this to stimulate more? We do have art competitions in our school. Amen.
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 I love artists. The same way with biology is you go like, well, if they're a young Earth creationist, why should they go into biology? It's like, well, we need more of you in the fight.
Right.
So do excellent work, top tier work, because if you're not doing it, then you're not going to have the credentials to go in. But we need the right philosophy.
Right. You need more Christian artists, more Christian biologists.
I want families in art. I don't want as many weirdos. It's like I kind of want more like people that are pursuing great beauty and loving your audience more. Love God more, love yourself more, and love the audience more, to give this beauty to them. And I think you could really change the world with better art. Because right now, there is not a big reason to study art in the world. It's known to be, you're a lunatic and it's all a lie, it's all made up. The value that they put on art, the monetary value they put on it is ridiculous. Hunter Biden art, he does 7th grade art, it just shows up, starts blowing paint, on a canvas, and it outsells, $90,000. It'll outsell any piece of art that's being sold in this town right now that is beautiful.
Right.
And so you look at the value, and the same thing with getting grants in science.
Well, yeah, some of the people going into art school, like one of our local artists, Forrest Dickinson.
He's great. I love him.
Yeah, he realized that the art program at the local institution just wasn't teaching him what he wanted to. He wanted skilled training. And so he learned, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know, but he was having to learn a lot of the skillful techniques of art online because he wasn't getting it in the classroom. Because it was all about self-expression and
it's whatever you think is true, and you just go in there and go crazy instead of learn the skills of color theory, value, rhythm, proportion, sight size measuring, where you actually drain what you think of something out of it. That's different than the Impressionists, where everything was personalized. 100 years ago, they go, whatever I see is, lily pads. If you look at Monet and Manet, they would just do their own color version. This is how I feel when I see it, which is they're documenting interesting things, interesting concepts.
Light,
but it becomes more philosophy than what used to be skilled art. So they're not teaching those art skills. And that was always kind of in the humanities, in music and art, we're more susceptible to postmodern relativism than the sciences. But now you're seeing it in the hard sciences.